There you go,
Excellent.
we're recording. Awesome. Well, Daniel, very nice to meet you, and thank you very much for joining. You're part of the Blockchain New Zealand Committee, Executive Council, and I just wanted to ask you a bit about your background, actually, because I know that everyone here has a rabbit hole story. If you could briefly tell us how you got into blockchain, because we met, I think, in 2017.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'll be really short because I know that we want to make use of our time mostly for the DAO stuff today. Yeah, so I guess like for me, my crypto story, crypto origin story, as it's often referred to, back in 2000, I think 11 or so, I had 11 or 12. I had a dorm mate in my undergrad that was tinkering with experimental marketplaces in crypto. At the time, Silk Road was a thing, and it was really interesting to see how like this crazy internet money, Bitcoin, was used to basically facilitate commerce across like all over the world, and kind of what it made. And it was then opened up a very interesting avenue in what does it mean to do new kind of computing paradigm. So computing that is open and permissionless that people can interface to. And then like later when Ethereum was beginning to be what the community was discussing as like unstoppable applications that are also run on a distributed computer, that was really interesting. I was generally curious about transformative computing and how to kind of like do programmable societies and stuff like that. And then when I was a researcher before crypto, I was a researcher and engineer in semiconductor industry. So I went to do my research in Australia, and the hobby of crypto and stuff started taking too much of my time. And basically I stopped my research projects and focused on crypto entrepreneurship. And a lot has happened in that space since. This was like back in late 15 or something like that. A lot of things happen in the space, and it's like always growing, and basically here I am, more or less. This is it in a nutshell.
Awesome. Yeah, I know, a couple of minutes doesn't really do it justice, so we'll have to explore this deeper at another time. But in today's small session, the focus here, I think, is to look at your interest in the DAO space. And I know that a lot of people have talked about DAOs and what they are, but there's not a lot out there where people show how to create one and how it is actually used. So I guess if you could give a high-level overview of what a DAO is and what you'll be showing us today. And I'm a willing guinea pig because you've given me some XDAI to spend. So over to you, take it away.
Excellent. Yeah, so DAOs, as the name says, decentralized autonomous organizations. And in some senses, to me, why I'm so fascinated with DAOs is that I think that Bitcoin is to money, like DAOs to the firm is what Bitcoin is to money. It's disrupting the essence of what does it mean to do firms in general. It's like money is never going to look the same after Bitcoin. Organizations are not going to be looking the same after DAOs. So that's kind of like the motivation for me. It's a way to do open and permissionless organizations, or open and collaborative organization, or private, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do with DAOs with very limited resources. I remember once I read a tweet that I really liked that was saying, setting permissions on a document is a political act. And if you think about it in the digital realm, basically it really is, because you have this like digital asset that then like someone is in control, someone is not, and basically you're setting permissions. You're already like setting some governance aspects there, right? And the other thing is that another kind of like tweet, I don't remember what's the actual phrase, but something like launching a Slack group is already like starting a company, right? And all of those things, for us, we take for granted now, like email, Slack, shared documents, cloud. We think about it as something that we take for granted, but it was wonders. Just like 10 years ago, it was already like wonders, right? So similarly, now the very natural transition is how can those digitally native platforms and tools and stuff take an even more radical leap, which is turn into an economic environment, turn into a native economic environment. And this is what's so fascinating to me in DAOs, basically. It's thinking about spinning up a firm, just like spinning up a Slack, right? It's amazing. So with all this motivation, shall we get started?
Let's do it. What do we need to do?
Epic. So do you have your MetaMask address where you have some XDAI?
I have indeed. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Would that help?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, how about like I'll give you a quick rundown where I share screen, and then we'll try to do it the same with you sharing screen. If you could just paste to the chat box your MetaMask address with your XDAI.
Yes, sure thing. So go ahead and can you share your screen?
Yeah, just please paste the host disabled participant screen sharing. So if you can just enable it and paste your address.
Okay. There we go.
Got it. And screen sharing enabled?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, my screen is visible, right?
It is indeed.
Excellent. So what we're seeing, as you can see here, alchemy.daostack.io. And now, given that we are on we want to work on XDAI chain and not on the mainnet Ethereum, we're going to switch to XDAI. Switching to XDAI, you see that the address changes to alchemy-xdai.herokuapp.com.
Now, why do we want to switch to the XDAI chain and not on the other one?
Yes. So currently, there is quite a lot of activity on mainnet Ethereum. The mainnet Ethereum can only support however much activity, and that means that there is competition on actions on mainnet, and that means that the prices to pay for each action, aka the gas prices, is in pretty serious surge, and therefore we want to consider operating on a side chain that is more affordable. XDAI is such side chain that doesn't use proof of work. It uses proof of authority as a consensus mechanism. And basically for us to work on XDAI would mean that we wouldn't be worried about each and every action. And DAOs, if using on-chain governance, very often entail quite a significant amount of actions. And that would be prohibitive unless managing very substantial amount of funding on the DAO. So for the case of either testing or even managing a small grant DAO, we'd probably be better off using XDAI chain as a solution.
Got it. So if we're going to use the XDAI chain, I assume, as you mentioned earlier, we need to use the XDAI currency, right? So this, if other people want to do this, they would have to convert from Ether to XDAI. Is that right?
Yes, basically the gas in the XDAI chain, instead of being paid in ETH, the native gas in XDAI chain is XDAI.
Got it.
And therefore, if you want to perform any actions, you need to allocate some XDAI to your account, similarly to how you would allocate ETH on mainnet.
And people can buy XDAI from anywhere, right? Like Uniswap or an exchange. Is that correct?
Partially. So you you can indeed get some XDAI, but because it is not mainnet, you cannot actually do it on Uniswap, because Uniswap is only on Ethereum. You can't, for example, buy Bitcoin on Uniswap, right? You can buy wrapped Bitcoin, but you cannot buy the actual Bitcoin, right? So it's just the representation of it. And then the way that people move between mainnet to XDAI chain is using bridges. There are bridges that basically allow you to take token that exists on mainnet, put it through the bridge, and take it the other side on XDAI. So that's where also the name comes from, XDAI, because you actually basically took DAI, which is a stable coin pegged to the US dollar, and took it the other side, XDAI token, which represents 1-to-1 DAI conversion. If you want to go back at any time, you just need to go through the bridge, and we'll share the link with the bridge details if relevant later. But it's a bit of a rabbit hole. So I guess, like, for the sake of not going too deep in a tutorial into XDAI and sidechains and stuff like that, let's just assume that we have all the resources to operate in XDAI, and we look at the DAOs. Okay.
Sounds good.
Excellent. So with all that being said, basically we are at the XDAI implementation of Alchemy. Alchemy is basically a DAO platform that is based on the DAOStack. And the way that I think is the right way to think about it for noobs or in general is that if you were, for example, to open a Facebook group, you just go on Facebook and start a group, right? Which is a much easier process than, for example, going and having to start a website and having to start your own custom channels. You basically have a platform where you can launch a group and invite your friends to join. So similarly, DAOStack has basically opened that platform called Alchemy that you can go and launch a DAO, and basically everyone can interface to it, and you don't need to worry about building like everything from scratch. There's the stack there. There is a quite high degree of customizability, configurability that is necessary naturally for DAOs. Different DAOs have different governance parameters, but basically it saved the cost of having to develop everything from scratch, if it makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Got it.
Excellent. So, okay, with all that being said, we understand these are all, for example, DAOs that people already have launched, right? Using the Alchemy. So we want to create a DAO, right? So let's let's hit the button that is create a DAO. Then let's call it Kia Aura DAO. And the symbol should be, the symbol is going to be the symbol for the token, okay? So let's call the symbol Chur. And now we're basically going to the configuration of the DAO. And there's actually quite good explainers here if people really want to go a bit deeper to each of the parameters and stuff like that. But for the sake of what we are going to look at, let's kind of try and be pretty straightforward and understand what are the high level concepts, okay?
Got it.
So basically, after we set the name of the DAO, the symbol is also going to be the symbol of the native token of the DAO. So if, for example, each Facebook group have their own native token, this would be that. Decision making, slow, medium, fast. Like we can do advanced, and then we can actually look at all of the full, full details, quiet ending, boosted, and stuff like that. And I'm happy to go into it another time, but I think for the sake of just kind of going with this tutorial and with the 40 minutes that we have, let's just call it fast, okay?
Yeah.
Now,
it actually reminds me. It reminds me of, you know, how in Bitcoin wallets you can, when you send a transaction, you can specify slow, medium, or fast, and then if you go advanced, you can actually set the Bitcoin fee if you want to.
That's a very good point, actually, because even though it's a very different, like it implies on something very different. it doesn't imply on like the network part. It actually implies on the time that is given to execute decisions and stuff like that, which is much more of the human side than the network side. In some senses, if we're thinking about it from governance perspective, it's a bit the same, because if you're running like if you want to have a fast organization, you have like, it has consequences, right? Like fast governance versus slow governance, all of that has all kind of hidden costs, like communication costs in the organization and a bunch of other things. So in some senses, I think it's a good analogy that you're pointing to.
Nice.
So let's actually quickly check what is the fast thing here. Pre-boosted, boosted period 1 day, quiet ending 1 day, period. Okay. So set configuration. Now, how do I want to distribute the CHR token? Where do I find the chat? Just a sec, so I can paste your. Oh, where can I find the chat? While here it is. Okay. Now, basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna distribute CHR token, okay, and I'm gonna paste here your address, okay.
Yep.
And I'm adding, I'm basically like adding members. I'm gonna add my address too. So this would be my here I have 23 DAI. This would be my account. Add my wallet. Yeah, and yeah, I basically like we said here that we're going to give you 100 reputation and give you 100 token, and add self here. Gonna give me the same.
Got it.
Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's give me 50 and 50, and then we will show in a proposal how I'm requesting 50 to match to Sean. Okay, this would be a proposal example.
So the tokens seems pretty clear, but what does reputation refer to?
Reputation refers to the voting power. So the voting is separated from the token, and it's essentially the weight of the voting.
Perfect.
All clear so far?
Very clear. Good work.
Okay, so now we're going, we went through the few steps here, and we're going to go to the last step, which is deploy the contract, or in Normie's words, install organization on the blockchain. So we click that, we start the DAO deployment, signing create. I'm gonna have to approve it. So basically gas fee is going to be 0.04 XDAI, which is it's basically like the 4 cents.
Of real money, because this is a real DAO on a real blockchain.
This is an actual XDAI cents, yeah. Test in prod, as they say, right? And then yet again, because there's quite a few interactions there, so I'm like getting 1/10 of a cent for another. So basically, like first create organization, I'll configure organization. You know, there's a few smart contracts being deployed there. Now, basically, now we're going to open it on Alchemy. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste that address to your chat. Please bookmark it, because this would be where you are going to come back to when you want to, interact, right?
Yep, that's bookmarked.
Okay, now we can see, for example, members. See that each of us has, oh, I don't know why I thought that I edited, maybe I didn't save, but basically each of us has tokens and reputation. And I guess, yeah, to like see how much tokens do we have in each, you can basically look at the block explorer. Actually, I'm not sure about the XDAI block explorer as much. I haven't used it too much. Still see my screen, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so my address here. When I'm checking my address, I can basically see. Oh, okay, yeah, I should be able to see the different transactions. So I see contract calls or whatever. I see the tokens that I have. So I have achieve min tree token, which I don't remember what it is and where did I get it from. Oh, I have 1,000 June tokens, which is actually quite cool. I can use it for June. I have some chur. Basically, I have some chur tokens that we just got from the Kiaora DAO. Right? I have 100 chur tokens here. And someone sent me some spam, probably meth, which I'm not really into. So really, I should send it back to them. So where were we? Where is this? Yeah, we're back here. Now, how does it work? When we're going to proposals, basically I can go to funding and voting power. Currently, there's no any proposals. So let's create a proposal. Please give Sean some more chur. Actually, rebalancing assets and reputation in Kiaora DAO, okay? Please give Sean some more chur. Please give myself, Daniel, some more reputation. Some more Kiaora DAO reputation, right?
Yep.
18, we'll ask to give you 18 units and we'll ask to give me 10 units, okay?
Got it.
And then I'll say test in prod. Hi, where am I? And if I have some pretty big proposal here to share about project planning and reasons why I'm asking for 18 units of chur and some reputation, I will basically share the GitHub link or something here, or I can add it here. This is just field so that we will have the ability to do those things. Then recipient, if not me. This is interesting because basically I want some rep and I want to give you some chur. So like, actually it's impossible because there's only ability to have one recipient, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna drop my request for rep, and I'm gonna only include my request for your chur token. So this is Sean, XDAI reward 0, reputation reward. Basically, like, what are we asking here, right? These are the fields that we are asking for something. We're not asking for XDAI. We're not asking for extra rep. We are asking, however, for 18 units of chair, right?
Yep.
And then we will be submitting the proposal. And to submit a proposal, it actually goes on chain. So it now prepares it, and I'm going to have to sign it. It's like some fraction of a cent there. And then it's being submitted to the blockchain. Once it's being processed, we'll see it. Now there's an interesting part to the governance, which we might not get into, but the way to really facilitate competing proposals, assuming that we're running a DAO with meaningful activity and there's quite a bit of governance actions to take, then we would want to find a way to prioritize the attention of the DAO. And for that to happen, there is a mechanism that basically governance, tokenized governance mechanisms here using XGen and XDAI that we would need to take into account. Given that we're only testing a DAO here, we were only wanting to go through the kind of interface without going too deep into the decentralized governance. And then basically we see that this thing has been processed through the blockchain. And now there's basically time to vote, right?
Yep.
So the people with rep, which I have some rep, can vote, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to vote for. And I'm going to pay some, right? You see how many actions. So that's why you imagine if we're going to mainnet, unless managing significant amount of funding, it's not worth it because those action on mainnet, now we're paying fraction of cents. Over there, it's fractions of ETH, right? So all that very easily can amount to like, you know, 10, 15, 20, 30, $50. So then like you really need to have a reason to actually have it. Think about it in the case of a board. You need to have a reason to have a meeting and make a decision that has financial implication. It's not like some test stuff, right? So we're going back to proposals, and now we basically can see that you have the proposal with 50% pass or 50% for, 0% against, and there are 6 more days for this to be waiting for quorum. Like in that case, it's majority. So you would need to vote too. Can you go and vote it too? And then it would not have to go through all the steps because it will be immediately 100% support, right?
Yep. So I just clicked on the thumbs up.
And signed and everything.
Connecting to my MetaMask as well. Clicking next, connecting. Success, I've connected. So let me go again. Okay, if you refresh your screen, will it refresh automatically for you, or do you have to actually go and refresh?
I'm assuming that it's a blockchain thing. So like you'll wait for the block to be mined. And then it will probably, like you saw, it was fetching new proposals when I was looking at it, right? So let's wait for a moment. And if it doesn't fetch, we can, like, we'll be able to refresh. Yeah, we saw that there is some fetching.
Yeah,
and,
I got the
and
notification.
Bam, now basically, yeah, and there's one thing to notice. You see here that suddenly the rep has changed, the rep balance, right? And then when you go to, basically like there is 2 rep that is missing. So that I think is rep that is from my account, and I'm gonna be able to fetch it back. It goes as like reputation that I stake in order to get it. You see that you got 100% support, right? So now in order for it to be executed, we need to redeem it, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to redeem the proposal, which is basically like saying, okay, everyone agreed it's been voted on, let's redeem. So I'm redeeming the proposal. I'm going to paying yet again another action. And once this thing has been redeemed, you can go to the XDAI browser, and you will see that you have extra 18 CHR tokens, right?
So what does redeem actually mean? Is it the proposal creator redeeming it?
The proposal creator or actually anyone can redeem it.
What does redeeming mean?
Yeah, that's good call. Basically, what happened here? First of all, we submit a proposal. Then that is one action that is being submitted on the blockchain, right?
Yeah.
Then we vote on proposal, another type of action, right? And then basically for the proposal to execute and actually for the tokens to be distributed, if I have a stake in this proposal, I need to press redeem, and then it will execute on those activities. Until then, it's kind of like being escrowed, right?
Got it. So it's like the enter command or the execute my instructions.
Exactly. This is like the final settlement kind of situation.
Got it. And then I also see the rep tokens now at 209. Where did the extras...
What happened there is that you have penalty if proposals fail, and you have reward if proposals pass. So basically, I got rewarded. Let's see, like, what is the reponomics here? Yeah, you see, I got 10 rep.
Yes.
As a reward for the successful proposal.
Yep.
By the way, all of these parameters can be configured in the deployment, or they can be configured as well in the, you see the plugin manager, which is like, how do we look at like plugin manager is essentially like the configuration, you know, like the configuration of different things that happen, right? Like we can configure, for example, the speed, we can configure the reward, the penalty, all of these things, right? Because this is a digital native organization, right? So like you have to be able to do everything here. You don't need to rely on any like amendments to like charters and stuff like that. It's all on the blockchain.
Okay, so a couple of questions then. The first one is, if you can edit and configure all these parameters, doesn't that make you the leader, or is it leaderless?
This is a good question, and this really depends on how do you set the parameters of the organization. You can set it such that you have, for example, 50-50% governance power, like we have set it in Kiora DAO, and you can set it such that there is an organization that is actually like, I'm the only one that have reputation, and then it's like a centralized DAO, like a company and like a director.
Okay, right?
So if I like, you can, it's up to you. It's not, this is not a this is like social, this is happening at the social layer and settled on the blockchain, but this is not like coming from the blockchain, it comes from the social layer.
Got it. So if I give an example, say blockchain NZ was to create one of these DAOs, we would have maybe 8 or 9 people join, and then we would agree that we would all have an even number of, say, tokens and an even number of reputations, right? So then if someone wanted to change the reputation, couldn't one person go in and like, you know, mess around with it, for example?
One person can submit a proposal to amend it, but it's transparent, and therefore everyone can decide if they support it or not.
Got it.
And yeah.
Excellent. So in terms of a real use case, would an example proposal be that it's a request for funding to run an event, for example, and then the proposal would say, I'm requesting for $1,000 to run this event on this date, and then submit this to the DAO?
That's a correct scenario. a very realistic scenario.
Got it. And what is the advantage over using something like this versus all getting together on Zoom and just deciding it in the traditional way with meeting minutes and everyone just agreeing?
Yeah, that's a good question too. If it's a small organization and there is no issues around coordinating capital allocation, then a DAO is maybe not the best advantage. Like there's no advantage in using a DAO. If you have, you know, a little bit of a bigger organization and or even small organization, but you want to have like easy place where you share your capital and not having to rely only on like one person to be the CFO. Basically, you kind of decentralize the CFO.
Got it.
And you kind of by that removed the actions of, think about it, if you have like the Zoom call and meeting minutes, then in the end of the day, there is the action of say Victoria or someone else that basically have to go pull the budget from here or there and get the receipts from you or wherever, you know. Here you basically have it all transparent, it's there, and then if you submit a proposal to receive something, all like everyone can see it, it's transparent, and you will receive it based on voting by the various members or however the governance was set there. And you wouldn't have to then like go and get through the step of the process where you have someone that acts as the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is suddenly like the DAO itself.
I see. So taking your example then of having a bigger community, we could actually open this up to the blockchain NZ community members, right? And get them to be involved in voting. So it's not just the 7 or 8 executive council members, but the members of the community too.
Yeah, this is absolutely possible.
Got it. So in that case, how would people, the members would have to source the XDAOs initially first, right, in order to be able to participate. Is that a roadblock or a hurdle?
It's a chicken and egg question. It's like, if someone wants to interact with the blockchain, they would need Bitcoin first or ETH first. Is that a roadblock or a hurdle?
Got it. You got to go and spend the effort to grab the currency.
If you want to start a company or organization, you're gonna have to register with an accountant. Is that a roadblock or a hurdle?
Very good. Yep, excellent question. That is really good. Okay, so it sounds like it's really simple to set up the DAO actually, and then it sounds very easy to actually operate it as well. What would you recommend the next steps for people who want to start a DAO to do? Would they follow exactly what you did here?
I think this is pretty much like the easiest example we had. So pretty straightforward. And as you can kind of see from what we're going through, opening a DAO, setting up a DAO is not the hard part. Now, the question is like going to the company registrar online or whatever. This is not the hard part, but building a business around it, building activity around it, building organization. This is the interesting part. So like you'd want to have someone that is, you'd want to have an objective and someone that is willing to be coordinating the stakeholders around that objective. And that's where the body of work would go.
Got it. That sounds really fascinating, actually. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. It's been really useful, and it certainly does look very easy to set up. And
it's simple, hey.
Yeah, brilliant, awesome. So with that, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll have to do a follow-up on what the next steps are and catch up again to see how this progresses.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Cheers.
Catch you later.
Bye-bye.